Home cooks have one of the hardest jobs in the world because cooking is so much more than following a recipe. It's figuring out what are you in the mood for, how do you shop and source your ingredients, it's doing the cooking, but also having the energy to clean up the kitchen and figuring out a plan for those leftovers. And the hardest part of all, you need to figure out how to do this every day on top of everything else you have going on with work, the kids, or your social calendar. Hi, I'm Ethan Chbosky, and after 7 years of making hundreds of videos about food and cooking, thinking about cooking every single day, and hearing from millions of home cooks all around the world, I realized we need a new way to learn how to cook. But the truth is, we don't need any more recipes. There are enough cookbooks, websites, and videos to last us a lifetime. What we really need is a solution that helps you out with the entire home cooking process, and this is why we're building the Cookwell companion app. Cookwell is built on three principles. First is food science and technique, which is understanding the why behind good cooking. Second is inspiration, which is knowing what's possible and what excites you to cook. And lastly is lifestyle, which is building systems that work for your unique budget, schedule, and goals. And at the intersection of these three principles are where you truly learn to think like a home cook. And this way you can learn to cook in a way that is personal, sustainable, and enjoyable for what your life looks like right now, but just as importantly, what your life is going to look like in the future. And first up, we are building a new format to cook with: frameworks. With frameworks, we will break down what components you'll need, why it works from a fundamental perspective, and how to do it. For example, instead of listing out 50 highly specific braised recipe, we have stripped back the fundamentals into this Sunday Braise framework. We've outlined the core components such as good braising cuts, salt, oil, and aromatics to choose from, and explain the technique needed to braise a large piece of meat. Then you get to figure out how to flavor it with what ingredients you have in the fridge, freezer, and pantry in order to set yourself up for several different meals throughout the week. And at a high level, frameworks will be spread across the three categories of lifestyle, technique, and inspiration. And what you learn from a single framework can be used to create hundreds of new meals. Now, the second core area that I think a lot of us home cooks could use some help with is grocery shopping. Think about it. There are millions of pieces of recipe-based content telling you what to cook, but there's almost no content that helps with arguably the more important part of the cooking process, which is sourcing your ingredients. For example, how do you stock your fridge, freezer, and pantry? How do you learn to spend less money on groceries or buy ingredients for a particular cuisine that you want to explore? And this is why we are excited to introduce grocery templates, where we will help you build lists across those three categories of lifestyle, technique, and inspiration. So instead of needing to find a bunch of recipes that you want to make, then taking the time to plan out your list, grocery templates will flip and streamline the shopping process by just giving you the list first. For example, in our high-protein grocery list, we will list out a variety of lean proteins, vegetables, and pantry staples that you can grab from the store. Then when you get back, we can give you a variety of frameworks, recipes, and ideas to choose from. Or instead of buying specialty ingredients for a single recipe in Indian cuisine, we can give you the staple spices, vegetables, and proteins needed to create several core dishes from Indian cuisine. And by using an ingredient-first approach, you start to learn how the same ingredients can be cooked in thousands of different ways. Then the last but most important part of the Cookwell app is the cooking system. The cooking system you build is how you will be able to keep track of the entire home cooking process all in one place. There's a feed to explore frameworks, fundamentals, and grocery content, a grocery hub to manage your lists, create weekly recurring ones, or archive lists for next year's family holidays. There's a calendar where you can drag and drop meals you want to make, add custom tasks or leftover reminders, and even note down when you're going out to eat instead of needing to cook that night. And all of this will be built into your profile so you can finally learn to think like a home cook, a central place to track your cooking profile, look back on custom notes you've left on frameworks, or see what dishes you've cooked in the past. And I think what excites me most about the Cookwell app is how we'll all be able to develop our own cooking systems that work for us. So if you also want to learn how to think like a home cook and make cooking something that is personal, sustainable, and enjoyable, please consider supporting our Kickstarter. By becoming a backer, you have several options to choose from to get full access to the Cookwell companion app when it officially launches. But additionally, you will get beta access so you can help us with testing and ensure that we are building the features that truly solve home cooks' problems. Also, there will be a lifetime access option, which is probably something we may never do again. Additionally, we do have some physical item add-ons such as a custom t-shirt, a custom hoodie, and our Foundations cutting board, so check those out as well. But the heart of this project is the Cookwell app and most of the core design, and we've already kicked off development, but we need some extra funding and support to get us across the finish line. So if you want to make and think like a home cook, please consider supporting. Thank you.